Let us now start looking at some of the operations which take place when we add a nishtha pratyaya to a dhatu. Now recall that the only difference between the pratyaya kta and ktavatu, both of which have the nishtha sanya by 126 kta ktavatu nishtha, the only difference between these two is that in terms of the derivation of the forms, the only difference is that once we derive the form ending in the kta pratyaya, all we have to do is just add the vat to get the form which is ending in the ktavatu pratyaya. So we don't have to go through all the steps again and again, because the steps involved in deriving a form ending in the ktavatu pratyaya are all the same as the steps involved in deriving a form ending in the kta pratyaya. So we just derive the form ending in the kta pratyaya and add the vat to get the form ending in the ktavatu pratyaya. So in the following examples, we will not look at the steps separately for the ktavatu pratyaya. We will just look at steps for the kta pratyaya, then add vat to get the form with the ktavatu pratyaya. Okay, now the first sutram we'll take up here is the sutram 8 to 42. 8 to 42. It says Radabhyan nishthato naha purvasya cha daha. Radabhyan nishthato naha purvasya cha daha. This sutram opens up a section in the Ashtadhyayi of 20 rules. Vimshatihi Sutrani, 20 rules, which go from 8 to 42 up to 8 to 61. So please make a note of it. From 8 to 42 up to 8 to 61 is this section where this anuvritti of nishthato naha runs from 8 to 42 up to 8 to 61. Okay, what is nishthato naha? Nishthato naha means nishtataha. When we do padachhedaha, we get nishtataha. Nishtataha means nishtatakarasya. In place of the takaraha of a nishtha pratyaha, we substitute a nakaraha because nishthato naha. That naha is prathama ekvachanam, so that is the adeshaha. The adeshaha in place of the takaraha of nishtha pratyaha. So nishthato naha. And this is this section from 8 to 42 to 8 to 61. Okay, this particular sutram 8 to 42 says radabhyam. So for this sutram to apply, the nishtha pratyayasya takaraha should be immediately following either a repha or a dakaraha. So you should have either ra or da, and immediately following that should be the takaraha of a nishtha pratyaha. Of course, nishtha we know is ktaktavatu nishtha 126. That is one part of this sutram. The second part of this sutram says purvasya cha daha, means that if we have a dakaraha prior to a takaraha of a nishtha pratyaha, then that dakaraha also changes to a nakaraha. Also changes to a nakaraha. So nakaraha is a substitute in both these operations. But in the first operation, the sthani, the item to be replaced, is the takaraha of the nishtha pratyaha itself. In the second operation, the term to be replaced is the dakaraha, tritiya varnaha, dakaraha, which is preceding the takaraha of the nishtha pratyaha. And all this only happens if there is a repha or a dakaraha preceding, immediately preceding the takaraha of nishtha pratyaha. Thus, the vritti of this sutram says, Radabhyam parasya nishtatasya nasyat nishtapekshaya purvasya dhatordasya cha. So there are two cases here. One case is that there is a repha immediately preceding the takara of a nishtha pratyaha. In that case, only one operation takes place, which is that the takara of the nishtha pratyaha is replaced by a nakaraha. The second case is that there is a dakaraha preceding the takara of a nishtha pratyaha. In that case, two operations take place. First is that the takara of the nishtha pratyaha is replaced by a nakaraha, as well as the dakaraha, which is preceding the takara of the nishtha pratyaya is also replaced by a nakara. So there are two nakara substitutions. One in place of the takara of the nishtha pratyaya itself, and the second in place of the dakara, which is preceding the takara of the nishtha pratyaya. Okay, before we take examples here, the reminder is that we are in the Tripadi section of the Ashtadhyayi. Tripadi means the last three quarters of the Ashtadhyayi, which is 8-2, 8-3, 8-4, which means what? Any operations which are done by this sutram are not seen by any prior rules. So we have to wait till the prior rules perform all their operations, and then only we can come to this operation of 8-2-42, and that is because of 8-2-1 Purvatra Siddham, which we already know. Okay, let us take examples to discuss each of these two cases. The first example we will take is from the verbal root chid, which is listed in the dhatu patha as chidir dvaidhi karane. Chidir dvaidhi karane. The rudhadiganaha. This dhatu means to cut. To cut. So if we take the dhatu chid, the ir of this dhatu chidir gets the it sanya by ira it sanya vacha, which is the vartikam which we have studied. So the entire samudaya ir gets the it sanya and then tasya lopaha. So now we have chid. To this chid we add the nishtha pratyaha kta using the sutram 3-2-102 nishtha, and which is here to be used in the sense of karmani by 3-4-70 tayoreva krityakta khalarthaha. So let us take an example which is used karmani. So chinnam is that which is cut. For example, you can even say figuratively samshayaha chinnaha, doubts have been cut, and so on. Okay, so let's first complete the derivation. We take chid and add the affix kta using the sutram 3-2-102 nishtha, and of course the sanya sutram 1-126 ktaktavatu nishtha. Okay, remove the it letter from the kta pratyaya by lashakpatadjite. The kakara gets it sanya then tasya lopaha. So now we have chid plus ta. Now don't forget to check the idagamaha. The idagamaha, because we have a pratyaya which is valadi, which has the ardhadhatuka sanya by 3-4-1-1-4 ardhadhatukam sheshaha. So now 7-2-35 wants to apply ardhadhatuka syed valadehe. But then comes 7-2-10 ekacha upadeshe nudatat, ekacha upadeshe nudatat. So that stops the idagamaha, because this dhatu chid is a anudat upadesha dhatu, because in the list of danteshu, the list in among the verbal roots ending in a dakaraha, which are ekachaha and which have anudat swaraha in upadesha in the dhatu patha, that list is as follows: ada khuda khida chida tud nuda padya bhida vidya vinad, and so on. So here chid is listed in that. So chid is anudat upadesha dhatu. That is why 7-10 stops the idagama, which would have been done by 7-35. So now we always have to check that, because if the idagama were to be there, then we cannot apply it to 42, because the idagama will intervene between the dakara of the dhatu and the takara of the nishtha pratyaya. There will be a ikara in between. So if idagama is there, then 8-2-42 does not apply. Okay, but in this case idagama is stopped by 7-10. So now we get chid ta. Let us also not forget the gunadesha, which would have been done by 7-3-86 pugantalgupatasya cha, because this affix kta has the sanya of ardhadhatukam by 3-4-1-1-4 ardhadhatukam sheshaha. But because this affix kta is a kit, 1-1-5 kiniticha stops 7-3-86, so there is no gunadesha. So always important to check these two things, the idagamaha and the gunadesha. Okay, now let us check the conditions for applying this sutram. We do have a dakaraha, which is the dakara of the dhatu chid, which is immediately preceding the takaraha of the nishtha pratyaha, or alternately the takara of the nishtha pratyaha is immediately following the dakara of the dhatu. So then what happens? There are two operations take place. First is that the takara of the nishtha pratyaha is replaced by a nakaraha, And so also the dakaraha, which is preceding the nishtha pratyaya, that is also replaced by a nakaraha. So there are two nakara adeshau. There are two substitutions, and so we get the form chinna, chinna. This is how this sutram applies in the case where there is a dakara immediately preceding the takara for nishtha pratyaya. Now chinna of course gets the pratipadika sanya by krita it's a samasascha, and then it is an adjective declaring all three genders. So if we take it in pullinga it will become chinnaha, like chinnaha, samshayaha, take bahuvachanam, and so on. It will declare like Rama Shabda, pullinge. In Stilinga it will become Chinna, decline like Lata or Rama. It will decline like Vana in the Napumsakalinga. Nothing special there. But the important thing is here that two operations take place, and there is a Nakara substitution in two places. In place of the Nishtha Takaraha as well as the preceding Dakaraha. Okay, similarly we get forms like Klin from Dhatu Klid, we get the form Tun from Dhatu Tud, and so on and so forth. Now, let us take an example of the other case where there is a Repaha preceding the Takara for Nishtha Pratyaha. Let's take the Dhatuhu Kru Vikshepe from the Tudadiganaha. Kru Vikshepe. Vikshepe means to scatter. Kru. So let's try to derive the form Kirna means scattered. Again, let's use the Nishtha Pratyaha Kta in Karmani, that which is scattered. So let's start with the Dhatu Kru and add the pratyaya kta as usual by 3, 2, 1 or 2, the sutram nishtha, and remove the letter kakara seed sanya by 138, shakpatite tasya lopaha. Now we have kru plus ta. At this point again check for the idagamaha, because we do have a valadi pratyaya which has a sanya of ardhadhatukam. So 7 to 35 wants to apply ardhadhatukasya valadehe. And then let's check 7 to 10, which says ekacha upadeshanudatta. But that will not help us here, because remember that rukaranta dhatavaha, they are not anudatta upadeshaha. So 7 to 10 cannot apply here because it's dhatu kru. Any dhatu ending in the rukaraha, long, dirgha, rukaraha, that is not anudatta upadesha. So 7 to 10 cannot help us. So we need the next sutram here, which we are going to take up to stop the idagama in this case, and that sutram is 7 to 11. Shrukakiti. 7 to 11. That will be the next sutram which we will take up. That is to stop the idagamaha in this at this stage where we have kru plus ta.